Here we go from Timcast.com. Gay conservative professor under investigation for offering chocolates to attendees at an open house.
I gotta say, hold on.
Hold on there, Bertman. What kind of chocolates were they? They were Jeremy's chocolates. That's the story. A professor had candy laid out. Some of them were Jeremy's chocolates. They said it created a hostile work environment and put him on leave.
I gotta say, of all the teachers out there trying to give candy to children, I think this is the one we need to worry about the least.
Nice. Very good. Very good.
Yeah, Richardson, who is a self-described gay conservative, said the college's human resources wrote a letter regarding the matter, which was delivered by a uniformed police officer.
Unbelievable. Well,
to his home on Monday. The State Center Community College District informed Richardson, who had been employed at the college for nearly 33 years, that he'd been placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation into unspecified allegations of creating a hostile work environment, along with reportedly harassing and discriminating against colleagues based on gender.
And we are not fed up with this yet, America?
Bruh.
Oh, it's only getting worse, buddy.
It is. Oh, yeah, totally. It's getting so much worse. But I'm wondering what happens to actually make, if people will get fed up, at what point they will, if they will, because I mean, I am of the opinion that we are in a cultural revolution in the United States. And I'm not sure how many people here agree with me, but I think everyone does. And I'm just wondering when the rest of the alleged liberals will realize that progressivism is not liberal, that it's illiberal, that it's authoritarian, that it's essentially, Maoism in the United States.
Yeah, I think this professor's horrible. He's a really bad guy.
Now I want some.
Want a little bit?
Yeah, send it over.
There you go.
Which one is that one?
We have like 2,000 bars. Have you had one yet?
I haven't got a lot of them.
No, I haven't had one.
You want one?
Nah, I'm good.
It's not bad.
It's really not.
I got some already.
Not a whole bunch of ingredients in it either. It means it's healthy for you.
Which one is this
I
one?
guess. A lot of sugar.
Right.
Oh, a lot of
It's actually not that bad. One bar, it's like 19 grams of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if that's all you eat, not the worst thing, but, we're now in a state where if you take a dump on a pride flag, hate crime, maximum penalty. If you try to kill people on a subway train or threaten to do so, you're the victim.
Of course.
And if you're a professor who offers up chocolate that happens to be made by Jeremy Boring, you will be placed on leave and placed under investigation, and the police will come serve you notice.
I mean, the left understands the friend-enemy distinction just way better than the right. They understand where they're at. They understand that the key right now is marking territory, knowing who's on your side. They're willing to punish their enemies and reward their friends with every opportunity. And it's gross. It's difficult in a society. We wish we wouldn't live that way, but we have to understand that's where we're at right now. And just like you were saying, you got to get out of these cities if you're a conservative or if you're right-leaning or any of this. Well, you also have to get out of any of these lines of employment or anything if you are not along with the progressive agenda. They're going to come for you no matter, even if you're gay or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you disagree with them on something, you will get purged.
That's why I like eating the chocolate bars on the show and making a joke out of it, because I really would prefer it if people stopped buying Hershey's and started doing nothing but buy Jeremy's. Parallel economy.
Tim actually pays me in Jeremy's chocolate.
That's all he gets. He gets
That's
one. He gets
literally
one,
all I get.
one
Yeah.
chocolate bar every night.
Every night.
That's it.
It's
But he has to
magical.
eat it.
I have to eat it even
Yeah.
if I'm really full.
So,
Even if I'm really
so
full.
Tim is feeding the Irish, basically?
Yeah,
Is that
that's
confirmed?
true. That's true. Tim
But what if there's a
feeds
chocolate
starving
bar?
artists. What's that?
It's just a bad joke. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, look, this is how the left works, though, right? So you mentioned earlier someone on the subway threatening people, trying to bring them harm.
You mean the victim?
Yeah, they're a victim. Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's because the left, of course, divides people up into victim classes and oppressor classes. And I think a lot of people on the right don't realize just how far that goes. It's actually ideologically consistent. It doesn't map onto the world, but it's consistent because in their minds, if someone is a victim, any and all behaviors that they engage in are a manifestation of their victimhood. And if someone's an oppressor, any and all behaviors that they exhibit are a manifestation of their oppressiveness. So even though you had a clear situation of self-defense, right? The person who was screaming at other people on the subway, he's a victim by his very nature and can never be anything else because the left's placed him in this category. So his behavior, which we all understand is reasonable, people victimizes others, actually makes him the victim. And then the person who acts in self-defense is an aggressor because he can't be anything but an aggressor. It's literally his nature. It's the label that belongs on him. It's his category.
It's literal anarcho-tyranny.
Well, it's an inversion of aristocracy, right? Aristocrats have more privileges than you. They have more rights than you. Well, because this person is a victim, therefore they are allowed this extra latitude. Certain laws don't apply to them. They are above these things because these allowances have to be made. You're held to a different standard because you don't have that status. It's really all there is to it.
I feel like... Oh, go ahead.
Well, and I'll also say, I mean, they actually believe, these people are so paranoid and insane. They think, and this is, they honestly think, the true believers among them, that white people on subconscious level, even if they don't realize it consciously, white people are walking around thinking, how can I kill a black person? They really genuinely think that that is how white people's minds work in this culture. So when a white person defends himself from a black person and that black person dies, well, they were clearly just looking for the opportunity to kill a black person. And if you want to tell me they don't actually think that way, then give me any other model of thought that predicts the outcome of them always insisting that the white person is an aggressor in every situation, even when it was clearly self-defense.
They're projecting. These people feel that way, and their assumption then is everyone else feels the same way as them.
Well, you remember what Robin DiAngelo wrote, right? About
Everyone is racist.
everything she said about black people. And also, in any given situation, it's not a question of whether racism occurred. It's how did racism manifest itself?
Yeah,
That's actual insanity, right? But that is what they believe. These are their sacred texts. This is their academic literature.
It's not whether or not you have sinned. It is how have you sinned. You are impure from birth because of the original sin of racism. And it's unfortunate that these things are actually explaining them is fairly complex oftentimes, and the average person doesn't understand this stuff, and to try and explain it to them just makes you sound like you're a little on the crazy side. And I think that the most effective way to fight this stuff is to inform people of what's going on, so that way they can see. Because when you try to engage most of the leftist arguments at their face, the leftists don't really care which way you engage the argument, because the point is to get you to engage the argument in the way that they frame it.
Right, on their terms.
Yeah, and that's part of that is actually the target. It's not whether or not you say the right thing. There is no right thing to say. It's that you're engaging in the argument that they make. Like, when they make the argument about this person that killed a guy on the subway, they're making you engage in the argument in a certain way. Yeah. And that's the problem. If you can notice that, no, this is not about power dynamic. This is about a guy trying to protect people. And if you can make the viewer of the art engagement see that and see through their framing, that's a way to make people aware of what's going on. But to just engage with the argument that they present to you, that ends up making the average person the fool, because they use things like dual meanings with words. The meaning of racism will change and stuff in the middle of the argument and stuff. So it's a lot of Mott and Bailey stuff. But if you don't know and you approach the arguments on their face, you'll end up losing.
Well, you have to reframe it. Exactly. Because they reframe things in such an insane way. And what often happens is conservatives, and this is a point that's been made a million times. It's a dead horse, but sometimes a dead horse needs a good smack or two. And I've never heard that. Well, that's because it's a Seamus Coughlin original. But they'll say, it's so annoying that leftists will accuse conservatives of being racist, and the conservative goes to all these links to explain that they're not racist, and that's true, right? And then on the other hand, you'll have like fringe conservatives who think that they're transcending the paradigm by going, actually, I am racist.
That's the wrong thing to do.
What you should be saying is, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
This has nothing to do with that. You're clearly grasping at straws. Like, don't even engage with the issue of race when they bring it up.
When they say
it's never done sincerely.
When you're saying when you're saying or when you're being told you're racist, the wrong answer is, well, let me tell you, everyone's racist. So didn't I show you? No, that is wrong. That is a failure of you on your part. You have to just. You have to say that you're not racist, and that to even accuse you of racism is absurd.
I'm gonna do from now on.
Right off the bat. Like, in my opinion, you should reply with an insult, because to call someone an insult or to call someone racist is to insult them. That's the intent that they're doing.
From now on, anytime we have a leftist on the show, the first thing I ask is, are you racist?
Yeah. Good move. Because then you put them on the defensive. You know
Well,
what I mean?
it's because they have to say yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, wow, we've never, because all of us, we are not racist. So
I don't even know. I can't platform you here.
that's interesting. I wonder if the New York Times will say about you're an admitted racist.
Yeah.
So you're an admitted racist. You admit you're racist. That's interesting.
It's horrible.
Yeah, we should be platforming admitted racists on the left.
Isn't Robin DiAngelo an admitted racist?
Yes. And this is the funny thing. 100%, I would imagine, of leftists who come on the show would be self-admitted racists.
Yeah, guarantee.
You know what I mean? And then we bring on a conservative and we're like, you've been accused of being racist. Like, I'm not racist. Tucker Carlson been accused. He's like, I'm not racist. The left, they all will admit it. Isn't this the weirdest time to be alive?
It's because they're all white supremacists.
Well, and again, this is how
And they feel bad about it.
Just remember, when somebody says you're racist or asks if you're racist or asks if you have like negative racial attitudes, what they're doing is they're looking at you and they're asking, when did you stop beating your wife? If your response to that is, well, I would never do that. And it's like, hold on, why are you even giving they just said they made a ridiculous accusation with no evidence.
I figured it out. How conservatives can win every single court case, every single jury. Here's what you do right now. I hope the law firm that's representing Daniel Penny hears me out. Ask every juror, are you inherently racist? And if they say yes, then you say to the judge, I don't think an inherent racist can be an impartial juror on a race on this racial issue. Yeah. Anybody who's moderate or conservative leaning or independent will say, I'm not. And any leftist will say they are.
Totally. Jury hack.
And then you're not kicking off someone based on their political affiliation.
Or they're watching Tim Pool.
They're admittedly racist. And you're like, Your Honor, if the person is admittedly racist, how are we going to have a fair trial?
Yeah,
we're not. Is it like, it's fair point? They had outright said they're biased against people based on race.
Right.
Then you'll get some middle of the road guy. He's gonna be like, no, I'm not a racist. I think I'll be fair. And I'm like, okay.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, yep. Jury hack.
Try that.
And you can do it in any single jury trial, any single one, no matter what it is, civil case, criminal. Imagine this. Imagine you're trying to win a defamation case against the New York Times or something like that. When you're doing jury selection, say, are you a racist? The leftists remove themselves.
So here's a funny story. Speaking of jury selection, back in the 1980s, my dad got selected for jury duty. He was talking about the people who clearly did not want to be on jury or did not want to have to do a jury duty. So one guy came in wearing an American flag tie because he's like, look, I have a business to run. I don't have time to be on a jury. And then this other lady, when they were asking questions without them knowing anything about the case, they say, do you believe in the death penalty? She goes, yes, and I think he should get it.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.